It is time now for Fantasy Insurance presented by Geico. Who are the guys giving you a little insurance policy on your fantasy roster this week? Rank starting at the quarterback spot. Who are you looking at?
I'm going to go with Eli Manning, the quarterback equivalent of a safety school. Like, you're applying to a bunch of good schools, but you also throw an application to San Diego State just in case.
Whoa!
No, I don't mean that in a bad way.
Oh,
that's fun as a safety school. And you know what? Eli Manning is actually a fun start this week, too, because he's starting to get better under this offense with Pat Shurmur. He completed 86% of his passes in week 3, a number that continues to rise in each game this season. Could he get 100 this week? Who knows? He's going up against the Saints, who've not been very good against quarterbacks this year. They had the QB1 against them, Ryan Fitzpatrick, in week 1. Matt Ryan was the QB2 last week. The only guy that really hasn't had much success is Tyrod Taylor. So I say that Eli goes out there and has a pretty comfortable game against these Saints.
I actually dig that because I like Eli a lot this week as a streaming quarterback. I'm looking at a running back, and I've got Austin Ekeler. He's caught every target thrown his way so far this season, 11 of 11. He's been a matchup nightmare in the passing game, lining up against linebackers and safeties so far. And ideally, against the 49ers today, the Chargers would like to get him into a route against Reuben Foster, who has struggled in coverage this season. Oh, on top of it, Ekeler's averaging more than 8 yards per carry. At this point, he should probably be at least a flex starter for you every week. Next up, wide receiver spot. Akbar, who you got?
Well, it's got to be, you talked about Eli Manning. I think Sterling Shepard is one to look at. I mean, you think about, his average, and he's been all right. He's got 5+ reception in 2 of the last 3 games. But when you look at the defense, especially the matchup this week against this weak secondary group for the New Orleans Saints, this seems like an easy play for me. You look at the injury with Evan Ingram, and so all of a sudden there's just more availability. And he had a pretty decent game, solid game last week. So Sterling Shepard to me seems like a really good insurance play.
Was this segment sponsored by Geico or the New York Giants? Because I'm going with Red Ellison. So it's like all Giants here and one Charger, Red Ellison, who will see far more targets and far more snaps because Evan Ingram is banged up. And I think all of us can agree this is about the Saints, too. Their defense is just not very good. And so Ellison, who came in and scored a touchdown last week against the Texans, is now a streaming option this week if you're hurting at tight end.
All right, that was Fantasy Insurance presented by Geico.